Did you read the interview I did with Gary Chester?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted me to ask you. He uses in his teaching a bass drum pattern that you used, and I'm not even sure where it was from, but I called Gary and I told him I was coming here tonight. I said, "Is there anything you'd like me to ask Neil?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Ask Neil if in playing his bass drums, okay." He said, number one, ask him if he plays with the heel up, okay, or flat-footed.
Right.
And if there's a difference in sound on the bass drums.
Okay. Yes. Heel up for the start.
You play heel up all the time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because of the fact that it's kind of a physical thing in a way that because I have a lot of stuff, I like it all under me.
Okay.
I don't like things too far away. So consequently, my bass drums are very close to me, and even drummers that are smaller in stature than I am find it very uncomfortable that things are closed in too much. But I like to be able to have as much leverage as I need on any given drum. I like to be able to put my weight in the right place, that I can put whatever degree of force I want over here, over on my left side, over on my right side, regardless. I want all of my leverage there. So it's important to me to have everything in close. And consequently, my bass drum pedal is just about right under my knee. And I've noticed with drummers that sit further back and their legs are more extended, that they tend to play flat-footed, because of that physical thing. And I've just found it very comfortable. And I use my ankle a lot. It's not a question of playing from the thigh, although a lot of my pivoting does come from the hip. But anything fast obviously has to come from your ankle. Same with your wrists. I play a lot with my arms, but when it comes to playing anything subtle or anything really quick, your wrists definitely have to do that, or your fingers or some smaller muscles. Your long muscles can only take care of so much. So basically, I play with my toes, but I use my ankles. Where a lot of drummers that play just toes, all their pivoting comes from the hip. I use my ankle is pivoting in there as well. And the two bass drums are tuned the same, but because of the fact that my legs aren't the same, again because of the long muscles, those are the easiest to get in shape, and for me they're the first to go out of shape. I find towards the end of a tour I start to lose the tone of my long muscles.
Serious? Yeah.
In my legs, yeah. Whereas my arms and my wrists just continue to get better, and it becomes easier and easier for me to play throughout a tour. But I find the long muscles are the most delicate. I find they're the easiest to get back into shape when I start, but there's something very touchy about them where, for instance, when we used to open shows, I used to have a lot of problems with my foot, because we'd only be playing 40 minutes a night, there'd be no warm-up, no sound check, and that would be the extent of my playing. Every day was only 40 minutes, which wasn't enough for those muscles, and I used to have a lot of problems with my feet, with my leg muscles stiffening up and getting a kind of paralysis and feeling like they were working against me. And I've spoken to other drummers in the same circumstance where they would ask me, "Are you familiar with this problem?" Or I would say to them, "Have you noticed that as a phenomenon too?" And it's definitely true that if you're not playing enough every day, those muscles suffer the most. It's really interesting. And consequently, that's the reason why the two bass drums tend to sound different, because, of course, my right leg gets a lot more exercise than my left one does.
Okay. Do you think there's a difference, just in general, even if you have a single bass drum, between playing toe up or rather heel up or flat-footed?
It would have to depend on the player. If you're used to sitting a good way back from your kit, which a lot of people are, and I can't believe that some people have 2 feet from them to their snare drum, and then another foot over to their bass drum, and their bass drum is so far away, and I suppose you can get just as much power going there if it's that far away from you. The same with the snare. If it's out here, you've probably got to use your arm a lot more. But it probably does average out that you're getting as much impact into it. That's got to be a very individual thing. I find that I feel better if things are in close to me, and because I have a lot of drums again, and cymbals and so on, I don't want them just there for no other purpose. I want them where they're usable. So I try to get everything in good and close and under me, basically. A good part of my drum kit is underneath me in terms of, I have pretty long arms, so a lot of it can fall within the scope of being right under my center of gravity. That's an important thing for me, is to feel like I'm on top of the kit, where some people play behind their drums in a physical sense. Their kit is in front of them. Or swimming is underneath me.
Shelly Man. It's a Shelly
Does
Man.
he? No.
Man. He's a tall guy. He's like 6'2" or something.
Mm-hmm.
He sits. Everything is like extremely close.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the way I feel about it too. But I know lots of drummers that are very good. I mean, I don't think there's a qualitative difference there. It's just probably a matter of what you're used to or feel comfortable with. But there are people that are definitely behind their drums, and there are people that are on top of their drums. You know, probably just a thing that you get used to.